The United States had its share of drama and tragedy this year. The nation was left reeling after an attack on the Boston Marathon. Then there was the political meltdown in Washington, which caused the first U.S. government shutdown in years and nearly derailed the finances of the world's largest economy.
The President of the United States.
No one would have imagined such a drastic year for America when Barack Obama was inaugurated as president. But after averting the so-called fiscal cliff in January, tensions boiled over once again at the end of the summer. Led by radical Tea Party members, Republicans in the lower house of Congress started talking about how they would refuse to pass routine legislation to fund the U.S. federal government if they didn't get concessions on President Obama's health care insurance scheme known as Obamacare. Obviously, the White House wasn't going to budge. Nor would Obama's fellow Democrats concede ground on the president's and indeed the party's signature legislation. So, a standoff ensued in September as both sides dared each other to blink first. Sure enough, the U.S. government entered a partial shutdown after two houses of Congress failed to agree on a new budget. The closure of the government saw hundreds of thousands unable to work, receive their paychecks, or provide services for American citizens. National parks, memorials, and museums around the country were closed, while both sides seemed no nearer to an agreement. And to add to all of this, there were growing concerns lawmakers would also fail to agree to raise the U.S. debt ceiling, allowing Washington to meet its Treasury obligations. The end of September and into October was marked by lots of infighting and rhetoric. Obama had to cancel his trip to the APEC summit in Bali to negotiate an end to the shutdown and allow the debt ceiling to be raised. What ensued was an elaborate political ballet involving the White House, Republican and Democrat leaders in the Senate, and the House of Representatives. In the end, they managed to thrash out a deal just. Obama signed a bill that ended this 16-day shutdown and raised the debt ceiling. The shutdown came at a steep cost to America. Analysts estimated it took $24 billion out of the economy. The possibility of a debt default spooked investors on Wall Street and hiked interest rates. The crisis hurt America's image around the world, with other countries frustrated at Washington's failure to get its act together amid talk of a superpower in decline. China made several high-profile warnings, saying the crisis imperiled the global economy. Beijing was very aware that a failure to raise the debt ceiling would have hurt its massive holdings of U.S. treasuries. And then there's the impact it had on U.S. lawmakers. If there's one thing Americans agreed on, it's that they don't trust Congress. Polls also showed Republicans were blamed more than anyone else for what happened. But Obama's ratings also took a big hit. Having stood firm on his health insurance scheme, the White House endured a hugely embarrassing end to October. That's when the website for the scheme crashed, denying millions of people the chance to take advantage of Obamacare. Obama and officials in charge of the site rollout apologized and promised to provide a website that actually worked. But the response was slow and plodding, giving critics fresh ammunition to take aim at the president and his administration. Earlier in the year, America was spooked by something far different, a terror attack on the world-famous Boston Marathon. On April 15th, two pressure cooker bombs exploded, killing 3 people and injuring at least 260 others.
The American people refused to be terrorized.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation released photographs and surveillance video of 2 suspects. They were identified as Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Tsarnaev. A manhunt in the state of Massachusetts and the Boston region was launched as the pair became the world's most wanted men.
Let's go, people, start moving back!
Shortly after the FBI released the images, the suspects allegedly killed an MIT police officer and entered into a gunfight with police. One officer was badly wounded. Tamerlan Tsarnaev was also killed in the confusion, while younger brother Dzhokhar managed to escape despite his injuries. An unprecedented manhunt ensued that week, with thousands of law enforcement officers searching a 20-block area suburb of Boston. Shortly after a shelter-in-place advisory was lowered, a Watertown resident discovered Dzhokhar hiding in a boat in his backyard. Dzhokhar was arrested and taken to hospital. While being questioned by police, Dzhokhar said his older brother, Tamerlan, was the mastermind. The two brothers were ethnic Chechens and had emigrated to America from Russia. They had apparently settled into the American way of life and showed little sign of wanting to become militant extremists. Weeks later, another crime story shocked America as 3 women emerged from years of captivity in Ohio. They disappeared between 2002 and 2006, but one of them, Amanda Berry, escaped and raised the alarm. Their captor, Ariel Castro, was sentenced to life without parole plus 1,000 years. A month into his sentence, he was found dead in his cell after hanging himself.
It's all about China when we get back on the show. Bo Xilai's downfall is complete as the former Chongqing party boss is sentenced to life in jail. Don't go away.